Hi, how you doing? My name is Brandon Taylor. I'm the Assistant Technology Specialist for Stockton Unified School District in Port City, SELPA. I'm joined with Brandon. I'm using two screens here because I want to show you guys today how to use the whiteboard feature in a collaborative capacity. So as teachers, when we go into breakout rooms and we need to deliver a little bit more individualized instruction, or we get a chance to get our students out of their classrooms into our breakout room, how we can share how we can share the whiteboard feature, as well as some other features, which I'll show you after this, how we can really help our students in those breakout sessions when we're able to pull them out. So the first thing I need to do, and you guys see here that I have two different screens, right? It's both me. But I have a separate screen open on another device so that way I can show you guys what the other person will be doing on the screen. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is we need to understand in breakout rooms we have the main page, which we are on currently. We are all on the main page together, myself and the Brandon clone over there. Okay, so we're both on the main page. Now, what we need to do is I'm going to show you guys how to use the whiteboard feature with what annotation looks like. Okay, so Brandon 1 will be sharing his screen as I am the host. Okay, so I'm the teacher. Okay, so I'll always reference that when I say the other person, I'm referring to the other computer that I'm using, but that would obviously be your students or anybody that you're working with, just to be clear. So I am the host and I'm going to share my screen. Now, just like we did before, we are going to share the whiteboard feature. Okay, so I opened up the whiteboard feature here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing before. I'm going to do that compare and contrast. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a basic T-chart. So I'm making my T-chart. And we're here. Okay, so I got my T-chart. And I'm going to go ahead and do what I did before. And I'm going to call this pros. Okay, and over here I'm going to say cons. All right. Now remember, if that's bothering you and you want to move them around, that's fine. I understand. Go ahead and move that around, and then we'll move cons around so that way it's nice and centered. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to go over to my student. So I'm going to ask my student. I'm going to say, can you please add something to the pros section? What do you think that pros means? That person is going to go up to view options. Click on view options, okay, and you're going to select annotate. Now, what the person number 2 is going to do, and you'll notice that they are going to they're going to answer the question of pros. But what I want to make sure that I have done is I want to enable. So if I disable participant annotation, okay, I want to make sure that I allow participants annotation. The other thing that I want to do is go ahead and show names of annotators. So what I'm going to ask person number 2 to do is go up to their view options and select annotate. Now what I want the student to do is I want them to tell me what they think what the pros of the story are. And again, for sake of demonstration, I'm going to just do something very simple like good. Okay? And there it goes. It shows up as good. Okay? So once the person on the other screen annotated as good, now if I was the teacher and I wanted to add some text in here, I can do something like bad. All right, now you notice how the students is in blue and mine is in red, just so you guys can get an understanding of that. So I'm going to go ahead and OK it. I'm going to allow it in there. Now if I ask the student something like, can the student draw? Can you please draw a straight line? Just for sake of demonstration, I'm going to ask the student to draw. Now again, the student is annotating on their window. They're going to draw a straight line. And as soon as I OK it, you'll see Brandon Taylor test 1. Okay, so the other person, the student. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask the student if they can put a stamped arrow under badge. So the student is going to select the arrow, and what we're going to do is put that under bad. And again, you'll see the name of the student right there, okay? Now this is in live teaching. And how I did that is I gave the students, okay, the ability to annotate. And I also list the names of student annotations, okay? So if I wanted to disable that for some reason during group instruction, whether it be for behavior management or you just want the control of the screen, we can click disable participant annotation. Now the student cannot mess with your whiteboard, okay? And whiteboards can be used for really anything. If I were here and let's just say this, I wanted to do something math related, I could put something like 3 times 12 equals 36, and then we get it. Or I could even do something to the effect of, if I allow participants to annotate, okay, and then we can hide the names or we can show the names of the annotators depending on if you want to see who's doing that. I would highly recommend that you show the names of the annotators so that way you can see who's doing the work for several different reasons. So go ahead and show names of annotators. Now as the teacher, I could do something like, Lucy, can you please tell me what 5 times 60 is? Or, 5 times 12 equals, and then I can ask the student on their side, okay? And I'll go ahead and okay this. Now this is up, so I'll go ahead and ask the student. I'll request annotation, okay? So I'm going to annotate this, and I'm going to answer the question with 60, and I'm going to click off of that, and you'll see that Brandon Taylor test 1 entered that. If I needed to move it around, I could move it around. The student could move it around wherever they would like. So that is a way to do that in live teaching. Now, let's go ahead and stop the share of this, okay? Remember, if I want to save it, I save it here and I quickly go to show in folder, and then it's going to show it right here, and I can save it to my computer under documents or wherever I choose. And then I have it accessible to me for whatever reason that I may need it accessible. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share. Now, we're back to the home screen. Now, if I wanted to do this in a collaborative way, if I wanted students to be able to do this, now granted, there's only 2 people on this meeting, but let's just say that I had a class of, I had a class of 12 students, and I wanted to go into a breakout session with them. I'm going to go here and I'm going to select breakout sessions. Now, again, there's only myself and my test computer. So if I wanted to create more rooms, I could create more rooms by going here. Now, again, it'll say 0 of 1 participants in the room. Well, obviously, there's only 2 of us. So when I go ahead and automatically select it, it will break them up into evenly, as best it can, even rooms. I can also choose to manually do this, okay? And I can go ahead and create rooms manually. And then there's the breakout room 1. And then I can assign it to, I'm going to go ahead and assign it to me as the student, and then I'm going to open all rooms. Okay. All right, so the student is going to join on the other side. Now, if you'll notice, the student just joined breakout room. So it's just me in the main room. The student is now in the breakout room. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the breakout room, and I am going to join that student. I want to join that student over there. So now I'm joining the breakout room. And what I'm going to do is share my screen. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to share the whiteboard, okay? And now the student and I are sharing the whiteboard screen together again. I could do the same thing if I wanted to ask the student something like a question like, again, 3 times 12 equals, okay, I can ask my student, Brandon test 1, can you please answer this question for me? I click off of it. The student is then going to request annotation ability. So go to view options and go annotate. And then the student can go ahead and put their answer here. And we're going to say 3 times 12 is 36. And I'm going to get off of it. And now there you see it, 36. Now we have it denoted here in in blue. But again, remember, if I want to show the students, I can say show names of annotators. Okay, show names of annotators. So again, let's do another one together. Let's just say I want to go 4 times 10 equals, okay, and I'm going to say Brandon test 1 or student, can you go ahead and answer this question for me? Again, they are going to select annotate, and because I have their it's selected to show annotators. Now again, we say 40, okay, 4 times 10 is 40, and when I click off of it, it will say that I did that, okay? It'll say that I did that. Now, let's just say that the teacher wanted the students to work collaboratively, or I was in the breakout session with them. Depending on how you wanted to do this, what I could do now is I could go up to save, and I could show in folder, okay? And it saves right to my documents. Now, what I recommend that you do is tell the students to leave that on the screen. So each person can make a copy of this, or one person can control the group's whiteboard together and turn it in. Okay, so it's really up to what the demands of that you want to be demonstrated by the students. So each student can make a copy, or one person can control the copy together. Or if you're an RSP teacher and you're breaking out with a student and you want to go ahead and save it so that way you can add it to Google Classroom or whatever you need to do to suffice for the assignment, or whatever you're trying to work on, you can keep for your records. Okay. So again, I'm going to go ahead and stop share. I'm going to go to breakout rooms, and I'm going to close all breakout rooms. So leave breakout room, returning to main session. So now we're coming back to the main session. Now, if I want to find that, I can go ahead and find the whiteboard right here, and I can open it up, and I can share it back with the student. Student's got to join me back in the room, but I can now, I have this on my screen. We are back in the main breakout room, and I can do whatever I need with it. I can have the student explain to the rest of the group, or as a push in or pull out, however you guys are doing it, into your breakout rooms. You essentially then have this to be able to work with the student. Obviously, I've demonstrated some very basic elementary ways to use this. It is really, truly limited to your creativity and how you need this to fit within the structure of your students' academic access. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Stay tuned. We're going to go over a way to use remote access with Cami and some things coming up here in a bit.